Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. Had a little bit of, technical difficulties, but we got them figured out. Hopefully we won't run into any. So, hope you guys had an amazing Wednesday. Today is hump day, like my mom likes to call it. And it's not in that way, guys. It means you're heading over that hump. And Thursday and Friday, it's all downhill from there to the weekend. Saturday and Sundays, those who have Saturdays and Sundays off, I envy you. I've always wanted to, kind of have that 9 to 5 gig with the weekends off, spend it with the kids, and especially with the NFL coming right around the corner. I think that, we'll love that 1,010%. So, let's go ahead and dig on into it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. We have a great show for you today lined up. We're going to talk about WWE NXT. Then we're going to have our AEW Dynamite preview. Then we're going to jump on into 7 stars. I recently read a list from, I think it was WrestleTalk.com, and then, kind of intrigued some interest. They had, 7 stars, and I was like, all right, we can talk about that. That sounds, pretty awesome to dissect, talk about it with you guys, you guys give me your opinions and stuff like that. So yeah, 1,010%. We're going to talk about 7 superstars that are rumored to be joining AEW before the All-In pay-per-view. So that should be sick. In our fourth segment, we're going to talk about Femi, the NXT North American champion, is just absolutely running rampant all over WWE NXT. Looks like nobody can stop him. Well, let's just talk about him. Let's just talk about his future. Maybe he gets called up by WWE. Maybe he's an anchor on WWE NXT when they hit CW. Only time will tell, but he's an amazing superstar. So we're going to talk about, whether or not he's probably going to get called up or not. And our fifth segment, every Wednesday, we talk about our Wednesdays weekly wrestling news. I got to give you some updates about some breaking news that's surrounding the professional wrestling industry. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to hit up that super chat button. If you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling, just give it to me. Something you've been dying to share. Share it. We are all ears. This show is about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the mix. So don't be shy. Drop your thoughts in the chat and let's keep this party going. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed, why not use the super chat? Just hit the $ below the chat box, send in your message, and it's guaranteed to get featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. Your super chats help us keep the lights on and bring you even more of the wrestling content you love so much. We are so grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the show. Also on the network, your support makes a lot of difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. Let's keep this conversation going, and together we can make this show bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Super chat's not your thing. You can also hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Give me some of your burning questions there. 1,010% is going to be awesome here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the way. So also remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button. Follow the show, follow the network. Definitely something you subscribe to. Give you the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that you will never, ever regret subscribing to our network. A lot of cool shows, a lot of awesome podcast hosts who give it their all. Professional dudes. It's awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on into some WWE NXT talk. It was a good episode. All in all, I thought it was it was well planned, especially after um, you know, um the Great American Bash Week 2, which is kind of like their pay-per-view, but that they, kind of show, which is actually, I like that. I like how WWE NXT, they're not like, every single month they have a pay-per-view. It seems like every pay-per-view they have, it's kind of like the big ones. You have Stand and Deliver, you did had Heat Wave, and you had NXT Battleground, all amazing, pay-per-views to, I think, just a reboot, nice little reboot, like just crown some champions and, but I'm not, trying to say that the pay-per-views that they have on air, on cable television is anything less because it's amazing as well. So Ethan Page came out at the beginning of WWE NXT looking for a fight. Talking first, he was kind of floating around the word of Wes Lee. He also who else did he shout out? He shouted out somebody else. But Ethan Page is basically saying he's the best there is. He's all ego. This is his error. Now this is the all ego Ethan Page error. So who to come out? Who to come out and question? The NXT World Champion is none other than Joe Hendry, which was so, oh my God, it was so cool when I heard his music hit. I gotta be honest, I was like, damn, this guy's gonna be a star. This guy's gonna be a huge star, and I think WWE NXT has huge plans for Joe Hendry, and along with this collaboration with TNA, you know what I mean? Like I do kind of feel a little, I don't know, I do feel a little skeptical and a little, kind of like not upset, but like, you know what? Like NXT hasn't really given much to TNA. I know TNA, there's Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame, and then you had Charlie Dempsey. And I don't know, it's just I don't know. And then they gave us like they gave the NXT Joe Hendry, and it just doesn't, it doesn't quite compute. I'm not saying those stars aren't, as cool as Joe Hendry. Well, maybe I am. I'm just gonna, but in their own way, they're badass. Okay, so let's put that to bed right now. So, but I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to see somebody like Femi, like he had the open challenge. Otis took it. Himself went to Monday Night Raw. Maybe just maybe you could take the NXT North American Championship over to TNA and get an open challenge there. That would be pretty cool. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think that would be pretty badass. So, Joe wants a chance to become NXT World Champion, and then of course you saw the newly formed heel Wes Lee attack poor Joe Hendry, and Joe Hendry went down like a sack of potatoes. But we have not seen the last of Joe Hendry. We'll talk about him more at the end of the episode. We had a women's eliminator match happening next week for a number one contendership for Roxanne Perez's NXT Women's World Heavyweight Championship. So they called out the first three names. First was Wren Sinclair, which was kind of interesting, Adriana Rizzo, she's been with NXT for quite a bit, so she deserves it. So Ruka, she just puts on great matches. I knew for a fact that she was going to get called because they're like, you know what? She puts on some good matches. People, I love that soul snatcher maneuver. It kind of looks like an out of nowhere kind of Randy Orton RKO thing, which is pretty cool. It's cool. 1,010%. Then Jada Parker, out of all these women, I think she has a lot to prove. I think, she kind of walks out there and acts like her stuff does, you know what I mean? Like, she's the stuff. She's the best thing since sliced bread. But Jada Parker recently hasn't really accomplished much. Like she did have recently had a feud with Michin after attempting to, be the inaugural WWE NXT Women's North American Champion. So it'd be kind of cool to kind of see her in a spot like that. Kind of cool because 1,010% she could be that star. She can definitely be that star. When she gets inside the ring, she just looks dominant. She just looks like she kind of dictates the match, keeps it flowing, keeps it interesting, keeps the crowd, biting on every single move that she's going to do. So, I have some high praises for Jada Parker. I think she's going to be super special. Then we saw Kendall Gray is the fifth, and the sixth is Carmen Petrovich. So they're going to fight in an eliminator match, a gauntlet eliminator match for the number one contendership for Roxanne Perez's women's NXT championship. So that should be super dope next week. So we have a Heritage Cup. We have a Heritage Cup championship match. The dawn of NXT. Tony D'Angelo takes on Charlie Dempsey of the No Quarter Catch crew. I guess he's kind of the leader now, William Regal's son, taking the helm at the helm. He's the leader. Charlie Dempsey, it was a great match. It was very, very physical. You can tell that Tony D'Angelo gave it all because he knew that, this is going to be it. You know what I mean? It was a great match in terms of, Charlie Dempsey putting Tony D'Angelo in uncomfortable positions. Like he had a couple of submission maneuvers that I was like, man, Tony D'Angelo usually doesn't look this, like he doesn't look this, like he's getting dominated, not dominated. That's not the right word. Like he never really looks like he's in trouble, I guess is, the best way I can kind of phrase it. So, usually he's on top of most of his matches, a total powerhouse, but he got on the top rope to finish. Charlie Dempsey out of nowhere, Wren Sinclair proves dividends to be the new member of the No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie Dempsey, looks down at her and just gives her a big fat smile. And I was like, oh God, here we go. Just fantastic. And I'll live more again. I'm just kidding. No, but no, it was a great match. It was a great match. I knew that Charlie Dempsey was going to win. Actually, I think I think NXT should have gave Charlie Dempsey the Heritage Cup championship because with Tony D'Angelo holding it, and I kind of, advocate for this over and over again. He just, I don't know, he seems like a main Carter. Doesn't really seem good in that, obviously he's good in anything. And I guess that was wrongly phrased, but he just, inside the mid card, you know what I mean? Fighting for the Heritage Cup and stuff like that. Like I get it. He's a very talented superstar and people like to see him. He's the Don of the NXT. He came so close to dethroning Ilya Dragunov for the NXT World Championship. He came close to that. So, definitely in the future, I know he's probably going to be the number one contender for Oba Femi's NXT North American Championship because both of them has had their fair share of interrupting each other's promos. So, that happened at the, near the end of the show. So, yeah, kind of crazy. So Lola Vice and Kehlani Jordan, they had a promo in the back where you saw Tatum Paxley just freaking out, saying that nobody cares about her. And then she, kind of lit a fuse with Lola Vice, says that, she's had everything handed to her. Everybody can't be an MMA fighter. You know what I mean? But Lola Vice took offense to that. They had a match where Lola Vice, she took down Tatum Paxley despite the fact that Wendy Chu, we had Kehlani Jordan on the announced desk, and then Wendy Chu took her out. So then Tatum Paxley kind of looked scared as well. Like that storyline, I was like, you know what? I kind of thought they were kind of in cahoots with each other. Maybe perhaps they are. Like who knows? Maybe we're next in the next couple of weeks we're gonna see Lola Vice team up with Kehlani Jordan, maybe gaining Kehlani Jordan's trust a little bit to when she needs a competitor, when she needs a fighter, and be like, hey, like Lola Vice right there. So that could possibly be, it took Roxanne Perez five or six pop rocks to put Lola Vice away. So, it would not be a shame for Kehlani Jordan to drop the belt to Lola Vice because Lola Vice is she inside the ring. She's amazing. She's amazing. Obviously, the MMA fighters that turn professional wrestling, usually, it takes a little while to kind of get rolling a little bit. But I don't know. I think she's in a safe spot right now. Definitely think that 1,010%. Next, we saw Lexis King defeat Eddie Thorpe. The sneak attack in the beginning of the match obviously did pay dividends. Lexis King was talking kind of mess about Eddie Thorpe's, Native American sound, the EDM he puts inside of his music and stuff like that. And then Eddie Thorpe was talking about Lexis King's music preferences, and I I would like, I don't know WWE's, I don't know their plans with Alexis King. I don't really see much. Or with this whole Eddie Thorpe thing. I thought when he was coming back, they were gonna like groom him up to like challenge Oba Femi for the NXT North American Championship. But what if you kind of have, what if you kind of have them working together? Like they kind of go in the back, they have a promo where they're like, you know what? I respect your music, I respect your choice, I respect you as a superstar because both of them have one victory over each other. You know what I mean? Kind of like how it was with Axiom and Nathan Frazier before they became a tag team. It was like, butting heads with each other, kind of like what happened on Monday Night Raw, roughly about like 8 years ago with Cesaro and Sheamus when they were the Bar. Mick Foley thought, you know what? You guys spend so much time beating the crap out of each other, and they're great matches. What if you guys joined forces? What if you guys joined forces to, win the Raw Tag Team titles? And they did. Given that, I don't know, Chase U won at the end of the night, so kind of crazy. I don't know how long they're going to keep the belt on top of them. So just just pondering. Next, we had a Trick Williams promo. I liked the promo. I thought it was perfect. It was the perfect way to kind of bring, although he did lose to Pete Dunne, I think it was night one, no, night two, week two of WWE NXT Great American Bash. I kind of felt a little discouraged about the future of Trick Williams after he lost his match to Pete Dunne. But, this promo said a lot, says whatever happens, he figures it out. He usually bounces back huge from a loss. Pete Dunne was asked about having another match with Trick Williams. He said, no, I'm moving forward. I want to challenge for the NXT World Championship. Then we saw a little, no, we already talked about that. Wes Lee, basically saying how Zachary Wentz let him down. MSK was dominant. Um, but they're not going to help him become the greatest. And he became the greatest NXT North American champion. So, obviously that was 2 years ago. And then you had them leave to NXT. And then Wesley got badly injured, was told he was never going to wrestle ever again. And he said, hey, honestly, these guys kind of abandoned me. But he kind of brought up something interesting that I didn't think NXT was going to kind of let him bring up, how he was saying that Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel are just here on NXT for that WWE rub. Basically, like, okay, you're just using, this platform, you know what I mean? Which is by all means like, oh, dude, of course, duh. But at the same time, it was kind of like a cheap shot. It was kind of like a cheap shot at TNA, being like, look, TNA isn't as good as WWE and it never will be. So, definitely, was, kind of crazy. Then you had Joe Hendry come out to attack him, then Pete Dunne, and then we're going to have a triple threat match next week on NXT to find out the number one contendership for Ethan Page's AEW heavyweight championship. Just kind of blast through this. Like I said, Oba Femi, huge superstar, defeated Otis, but it was a nice play. It was a well-fought match by Otis. Izzy Dane took down Brindley Reese, and then you had Axiom and Nathan Frazier finally be dethroned by Chase U, Andre Chase, and the new member of Chase U, Mr. Ridge Holland. So I thought it was pretty good. And it was a nice spot for Ridge. So, yeah. All right, guys, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our second segment. We're going to talk about AEW Dynamite as soon as we come back. So, hey, sit tight.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, all right, all right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE NXT review. Now we're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite preview. But before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys to use this awesome new super chat that we've been using recently here on the GSMC Sports Network. If you have a burning question or a hot take about professional wrestling, I'd love to hear it. Or just something that you've been dying to share. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do pride ourselves on hearing out our beloved audience. So, yeah, if you're dying to share something, we are all ears. The show's about keeping the conversation lively and making sure your voice is a part of the mix. So don't be too shy. Drop your thoughts inside the chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed, why not use this super chat? Just hit the $ below the chat box, send in your message, and it's absolutely guaranteed to be featured on this show. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. Your super chats help us keep the lights on and bring you even more awesome wrestling content. We are so grateful, obviously, for each and every one of you who joins us here. Your support, it makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep this wrestling party flowing. Let's get it started. So send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make this show better than ever. And if the super chat is not your thing, remember we are still at the gsmcpodcast.net. Hit up that link, hit up the tips and donations link. Obviously, leave whatever. Obviously, just want to hear what you guys is what you guys have to say about, the topics and stuff like that. And here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. 1,010%. Remember to Superman punch that, like a subscribe button, and follow the show. Also follow the GSMC Sports Network. All right, so let's go to talk about AEW. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. AEW Dynamite is live. So yeah, let's talk about it here. So obviously last week's Dynamite was pretty badass. I thought it was pretty great. Something that I love about AEW, their build-ups are really really great. Really great. 2 weeks in, 2 weeks left till the build-up is pretty awesome. They put on amazing pay-per-views, amazing pay-per-views. I'll say it again. We are 2 weeks away from AEW All-In, and we have 6 confirmed matches. So yeah, let's talk about it here. So obviously, we're going to have the AEW World Tag Team Championships up for grabs tonight. The Young Bucks finally fighting a match. I did not, no, I don't think they were featured last week on Dynamite. Maybe for like a second, but I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm not buying into this whole elite thing with Kazuchika Okada. Also the Young Bucks and the scapegoat Jack Perry. We had the Young Bucks taking on the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed, quite some time ago, defeated the Young Bucks in a proving ground match, able to pick up a title shot. So my prediction is I feel like the Young Bucks are going to win. It's gonna take. It's going to take a team. It's going to take a team to take down the Young Bucks, like the new flavor of the week, possibly. Obviously, we did see Hangman Adam Page coming back. Lord only knows when Kenny Omega is coming back. Hopefully, he comes back soon, has a speedy recovery. But like I said, I'm not buying the elite anymore. I feel like they're trying so hard to be that not that Vince McMahon thing where we're the bosses. Like, you know what I mean? It's whatever. Like not the like corporate and they do whatever they want. They get the title shots, they get the girls, they get they get everything handed to them on a silver platter because they're the EVPs. They are part of I think the founders. No, they are the founders, but I think there's like a founders clause that they have in their contract or something like that, kayfabe. Obviously it was Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks who started AEW with Tony Khan. So I don't know. It's the Young Bucks are probably gonna win. The Acclaimed. I have mixed feelings about the Acclaimed. I thought at first I was like, okay, these guys are kind of over as baby faces. The crowd loves them, and then you have them feuding with FTR because FTR they hate the Young Bucks too. It was they came so damn close in Las Vegas. Not Las. Yeah, I think it was Las Vegas. No, I think maybe Dynasty. I could be. Don't quote me on that. But it was so close. Next, we have a TBS Championship match: Mercedes Mone against Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida is a former AEW Women's Champion, so she could bring it. She could definitely bring the fight to Mercedes Mone tonight. She's a double champion. Maybe they let Shida take the TBS Championship over with Japan. That could be badass. I would like to see that happening. But I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to. I think Mercedes Moné is going to get a win here. Obviously, I think there's going to be a point in the match that every heel does every single time you get this quote unquote bodyguard, like Shawn Michaels, like, this is Big Daddy Cool Diesel and this is my bodyguard. Like, they're going to prove dividends. They're going to help Mercedes Moné win her matches, and the crowd is going to hate it so much, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So I kind of see that happening tonight. I can see, Shida kind of get the upper hand on Mercedes and Moné, and then out of nowhere you have this big, dominant woman, Camille, just stake her claim in the Mercedes Moné's cabinet. I guess you can say cabinet of fantastic friends. But I don't know if she can replace Bailey, man. Bailey was her best friend. I'm just kidding. No, but should be interesting. But I think overall Mercedes Moné will retain the TBS championship. Next, we have an AEW World Champion, Swerve Strickland, taking on Wheeler Yuta. Last week on AEW Dynamite, you saw Swerve come out to talk to Bryan Danielson, saying that, look, you're not the only one who can call for a warm-up match. I'm going to fight Wheeler Yuta. And Wheeler Yuta, he's a great superstar. Recently, he lost his Ring of Honor television. No, I don't think that was Atlanta. No, New Japan Strong Championship to Rick Maori? Oh my god, I can't believe I'm spacing on the name. So many wrestlers, so many names. And so many titles. Like, but it's cool. It's cool. 1010%. So Swerve Strickland, love Swerve. One of my most favorite wrestlers at this moment. I think it's cool that AEW has a guy like that to kind of put on their, to kind of put the company on his shoulders. Like I kind of keep reiterating, he's won his title bouts. All on his shoulders, no help. No, obviously, with he took on Will Ospreay, then you had Don Callis throwing the screwdriver to, so he can defeat Swerve Strickland. But I still didn't think that would have, made such a difference. Swerve is just he's over right now. Swerve, with the fans, a lot of mixed feelings with this whole thing between him and Bryan Danielson. Will Danielson win at AEW All-In and dethrone Swerve? I think even if Bryan Danielson wins or loses, he's gonna be, and he's gonna retire. He's gonna retire. Definitely 1010%. I can see him doing something with AEW. Tony Khan loves him. He obviously has a lot of grit, I guess is the right way to kind of say it. Like once when he got released, or once when his contract was up with WWE, he was like, you know what, I kind of want to explore more of a grittier side of me. So I'm going to go to AEW. And then he had, for hellacious matches, and so the American Dragon, giving him all the credit, throwing him all the flowers in the world. But tonight we have Swerve Strickland taking on Wheeler Yuta. I think Swerve's going to pick up the victory here, building up more momentum heading toward AEW All-In Wembley Stadium in London. So I don't know. It's going to be a great bout, though. It's going to be super awesome. It's going to be great. Next, we have Hangman Adam Page versus Jay Lethal. Last week, you saw the Hangman Adam Page take out Jeff Jarrett. I think he took out Jeff Jarrett. I could be wrong. I think it was like after when the show went off air. I think I briefly saw it on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." But Hangman Adam Page is pissed off. He's pissed off. He doesn't want to fight anybody else in this world besides Swerve Strickland. Perhaps like you can have this. If Bryan Danielson takes Swerve Strickland's AEW World Championship, this could be a perfect way for Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland to have this feud without any title stipulations. So that I feel like that'd be pretty cool. These guys would absolutely tear each other apart, limb from limb. So, definitely, something to think about for AEW creative there. But obviously Hangman Adam Page is going to get the victory. He's going to make Jay Lethal. He's going to prove an example out of him and showing that he returned to AEW with a burning heart desire to take out the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Swerve Strickland. So should be pretty interesting. Can't wait for this match. Next, we have a three-way number one contenders. Actually, the three-way for the number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet at All-In. We got Kyle O'Reilly taking on Orange Cassidy, taking on Roderick Strong. This could be interesting. Like, there's a point where, I thought Orange Cassidy was going to, oh man, what was the recent pay-per-view for AEW? I think it was Forbidden Door. I believe it was Forbidden Door. And he took on, who did he? Kyle Fletcher? No, he didn't take on Kyle Fletcher. He took on somebody, and I was like, this is going to be a great way for Orange Cassidy to kind of bounce back here. I feel like, he really had no business losing to the guy he lost to at Forbidden Door. So after that, I was like, all right, what are they going to do with Orange Cassidy? So, should be interesting to find out what they do with his character. Kyle O'Reilly of the conglomeration. I think it's I think it's time for him to finally get his foot in the door here. I would love to see him win this match. He does have his confidant, a former confidant in the Undisputed Era of WWE, Roderick Strong, inside the mix. Roderick Strong, whenever he's face to face with Kyle O'Reilly, never really puts hands on him. Never. Well, obviously he has, but he respects him. He respects him. He's like, you know what, this was my dude. He's not right now with the Undisputed Kingdom. He should be. That's how he feels. I don't think he needs the Undisputed Kingdom. I think the Undisputed Kingdom needs Kyle O'Reilly more than Kyle O'Reilly needs the Undisputed Kingdom. But I don't know, it should be pretty cool. Roderick Strong, I have my doubts about Roderick Strong. He's been within the world wrestling. No, he's been around the professional wrestling industry for so long, longer than I actually, expected. Sometimes I, look at some stuff that happened in the early 2000s, and I was like, oh, Roderick Strong defeated Ring of Honor. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. But if he's going to make, if he's going to be a star in AEW or Ring of Honor, I something has to give. He recently lost to Mark Briscoe. He had a chance at Death Before Dishonor for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. So if Roderick Strong wants to prove anything tonight, he has to win tonight. Next, we're going to see, well, not next, but during AEW Dynamite, we're going to see a film by Mariah May, Kazuchika Okada, and Claudio Castagnoli meet in the ring. We have, we still have a lot of all-in matches that are going to be made. We have major announcements by Tony Khan. We're going to recap MJF's AEW American Championship defense from Rev Pro this past weekend. Kind of crazy. And in a clear sense of the AEW World Tag Team Championship match at All-In, which, should be pretty awesome, should be pretty badass. And also Britt Baker, make sure you keep an eye on her. She could possibly, cost Mercedes Mone the TBS Championship tonight. So, yeah, definitely think that could happen. I definitely think that could happen on Dynamite tonight. That'd be super cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about 7 stars rumored to be going to AEW. Like I said, I recently saw a list on, I think it was WrestleTalk.com, and I was like, dude, that's kind of crazy. So, we're going to speculate. We're going to talk about some of these people when we return. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, from AEW to WWE to Ring of Honor, TNA, occasionally New Japan Professional Wrestling. Whenever big stuff happens in the MLW, the NWA, also Stardom, and basically all over the wrestling ring. Like if it's like, we'll talk about it here on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Don't you worry about that. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE NXT review. We also had our AEW Dynamite preview, and now we're going to talk about 7 stars rumored to be going to debut in AEW Dynamite before All-In. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Before we do that, of course, always make sure you hit up that super chat button, the super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. 1,010%. This show is nothing without you guys. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep this flow going. 1,010%. Obviously, we need you guys. You guys need us to give you guys some awesome sports content. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But obviously we love each other. It's just like be a part of this GSMC Sports bloodline, this awesome family of podcasters who care about you guys, who just wants to give you guys sports updates, and it's absolutely 110% free. Give you guys the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that if you subscribe, I guarantee you happiness. I guarantee you. Who could do that? Who could guarantee happiness? This guy could. Eric, I'm just kidding. No, moving on. So, let's go ahead and talk about some stars that could be going to AEW. Number 1, Ricochet. This has been floating around for quite a bit here. I think it's to the point where if it was gonna happen, it probably would have happened already. Of course, he's dating Samantha Irving, the ring announcer for Monday Night Raw, and I don't know if he's going to be playing a huge role in Braun Breaker's Intercontinental Championship reign, because the last time you saw him, he was being speared through the windshield of a car by Braun Breaker. So, is it more likely you're going to see a return from Ricochet to WWE, or you see him going to AEW? There's so many I think there's more positive ends. There's more positive sides for Ricochet to go to AEW. Obviously, I think they would utilize him more. I feel like they'd get him, in bigger spots, better bookings, and also, put the brand on top of his back. And obviously, he has a couple of friends. He's been a part of the independent wrestling circuit for a long time, making a whole bunch of acquaintances that are actually fighting in AEW. Now that AEW has partnerships with Ring of Honor, CMLL, also New Japan Professional Wrestling, it's only a matter of time until Ricochet gets something whispered in his ear that could possibly turn him. That could possibly turn him 1,000%. I know he has he has a great relationship with the aerial assassin Will Ospreay. They've had a bunch of matches together, instant classics. So Ricochet definitely could be debuting AEW before AEW All-In. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see. Next, we have Bobby Lashley. Wow, if Bobby Lashley comes to AEW, it'd be huge. It'd be a bombshell. He's an amazing superstar, an amazing talent, and I think if he comes in, he's probably gonna bring MVP with him. You never really had something like this in AEW. You never really had this advocate for this big strong dude that's going to come and take the championship right off your waist. Kind of reminds me of like a Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman kind of feel. And I feel like that's how dominant Bobby Lashley would be in AEW right now. I'm not trying to throw shade at the talent that AEW has in their main event division, but it's very, very wide open. Bobby Lashley debuts in AEW tomorrow. People are going to be like, why doesn't this guy have the belt right now? And I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to kind of see Bobby Lashley get the respect that he deserves. Just throw some flowers at his name. He's the GOAT. He's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen inside the ring. Obviously, he doesn't have the accolades because mostly he never gets the opportunities. But this would be a huge spot. This would be an amazing. This would be a huge pickup for Tony Khan to get Bobby Lashley to sign with AEW. This would be nice. This would be great. There's so many potential ways you can use Bobby Lashley. Right now, you kind of have Swerve, kind of being, portrayed as a bad guy because the whole Bryan Danielson thing. But the way, when he had his interview last week on Dynamite with Jim Ross, I gotta be honest, it was screaming heel. It was screaming heel turn. I was like, it'd be crazy. It'd be real crazy. Like if you just turn and just like, oh, I'm the best. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I'm the man. Nobody could take me down, And there's a whole bunch of other superstars that are in the main event division, but they're also, kind of baby faces. Or, you don't really have that heel, that dominant heel in the main card division, which Swerve would be amazing at playing. But obviously he had his time as a heel. He's done some pretty messed up things in the past. So I think maybe that's kind of, behind him, maybe kind of having like a Randy Orton role where he's not really, he doesn't care if you like him, he doesn't care if you don't like him. He's gonna go out there and try to get his own. So I don't know, it would be kind of interesting to bring Bobby Lashley into this championship fray of matchups heading toward AEW All-In. Next, we have Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin, there could possibly be a Hurt Business reunion. Obviously, you do have Cedric Alexander on NXT right now, but when his contract is up, maybe you can try to approach him. But Shelton Benjamin is a very talented superstar. Another talented superstar that was wasted by, WWE creative. I remember after the whole thing with, his tag team partner, Charlie Haas, and, the best tag team ever. I think the greatest tag team ever with Charlie Haas and when he was with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle had nothing but great things to say about Shelton Benjamin, coming up throughout the WWE. But once again, you can't be great if you don't get the opportunities. And it's not that he's not great. It's just that people look the other way. WWE creative was like, oh, cool. We have this guy that could possibly win the Intercontinental. You know what? Do you want to let him win the Intercontinental Championship? Nah. Let's just give The Miz another reign. Yeah, let's do that. Or there was a time when I was watching wrestling, and I think Dolph Ziggler took on The Miz like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, bruh, like, come on, dude. Like, really? You can't really put your heads together and be like, Shelton's a hell of an athlete. He's been lingering around WWE for so damn long. When he comes onto the program, people are like, hey, cool. Shelton Benjamin. He's definitely someone you could put a title on. He won the tag team titles, the Raw tag team titles with Cedric Alexander during the Hurt Business. I don't know. I just think he would be amazing absolutely anywhere he goes. If he goes to AEW, if he debuts at AEW for All In, I think that'd be pretty cool. Next we have Matt Riddle, the original, bruh. Matt Riddle, he definitely has some things to say. Definitely has some things to say. I give him that, kind of staying up on his word. He recently had that interview where he was saying how Goldberg was telling him, "Oh, you should see my bank account," yada yada yada, and it's just like it kind of painted a negative connotation of Bill Goldberg, but Matt Riddle didn't. He doesn't care. He honestly does not care. He had a pretty good stint in WWE when he feuded with Seth Rollins. He was tag team champions with Randy Orton, the Viper, RK Bro. I was sad to see Matt Riddle leave, but I don't know. I think it'd be kind of crazy for him to make his debut in the AEW. I think that would most definitely shake things up, add a new persona to AEW. I think this would be beneficial for both of them, actually. Definitely. I know he's killing it on his respected wrestling brand that he's on right now. But if he moves to AEW, I don't know. I feel like that would be beneficial for both the parties here. Next, we have Dijak. Dijak was drafted to WWE Raw, put the hat on and everything, wore red, only to find out there was never really a contract extension. And he never really came to Raw. And nobody ever talks about it. Like, it's crazy. Like, I feel so bad for this dude. I'm like, dude, like, you're being drafted to Monday Night Raw. Oh, we can't really come to terms with the contract right now. We're gonna have to, we gotta let you go here. Like, you know what I mean? But this is crazy. Obviously, whatever he does, wherever he goes, he's gonna be huge. He was a great superstar. I liked him on NXT, but ever since, damn it, that's crazy. I don't think that's ever happened to a guy where you get drafted to the main roster. They make you believe. They kind of gaslighted him, to be honest. They gaslighted his ass. But, like, it was just, so crazy. I feel bad for this guy. Great superstar. Would absolutely love to see him at AEW. All in, maybe with maybe with the group or something. That'd be pretty cool. Next, Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali, he says he's done with TNA. That's what he says. But recently losing the X Division Championship at Death Before Dishonor. It's kind of crazy. He lost to Speedball Mike Bailey. I think it was. He's a great superstar. Without a doubt, he's an amazing athlete. Would have still been killing it if WWE would have never got rid of 205 Live and the Cruiserweight Championship, which I feel like was a huge mistake. But Mustafa Ali could very much find his space in AEW. I can believe that 1,010%. Next, and this is kind of far-fetched, but we got to play with it a little bit. What if Becky Lynch goes to AEW? Recently, you had Seth Rollins sign a contract with WWE, but he's injured right now. Maybe he could, after his surgery, he can watch the baby for a little bit. He is not. When he came back, I knew he came back too soon. He come back from a meniscus. Also, I think he tore his NCL. I think it was NCL. I could be talking out of my butt here. NCL or something. I don't know. But he hurt his knee really, really bad. To the point where that night too, he literally he was like, all right, I'll come out and do something. Dude was hobbling. Dude was straight up hobbly, rolled inside the ring. The Roman Reigns took him out with the chair, and all the fans were like, "Oh my God, poor Seth." But in reality, Seth was probably like, "All right, the moment I get inside that ring, hit my take me out with the chair, so because I cannot move this freaking leg." So definitely think he's going to be spending some time away from WWE. My projection is probably before Bad Blood. Maybe he has a solid month before he comes back to challenge Bronson Reed to Bad Blood. So that but until, for the meantime, Becky Lynch has been, she's achieved everything there has to achieve within the WWE spectrum. She was part of the Four Horsewomen. Every single time her music hits, people absolutely can't wait to see more of her. If this big fish is reeled in by AEW, she will, and this is, Tony Khan has the money. She is going to be the highest paid women's wrestler in the professional wrestling industry right off the bat. That's a given. Because imagine if people be like, "Oh, like that's crazy. Rebecca Quinn is all in. She's all in. That's crazy." Probably will be the biggest news ever since, like kind of like Cody Rhodes coming to WWE. She can hold the AEW brand on her back. Just her. Just her, debuting into AEW. It would absolutely be huge. So, although it seems a little far-fetched, kind of had to play with a little bit here. But I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to see Becky Lynch, kind of just be somewhere else, kind of get out of her comfort zone a little bit. So yeah, I thought that would be, pretty damn dope. All right, guys. Well, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our fourth segment. We're going to talk about Oba Femi, his future. Will he be called up by WWE Raw, SmackDown, or is he going to stay on NXT? So make sure you sit tight, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite cold beverage, and join me in about, like 20 seconds.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about our favorite thing in the world, professional wrestling. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our WWE NXT review, our AEW Dynamite preview. We also talked about 7 superstars. Credit to, shout out to Wrestling Talk, but, definitely read their list, had to talk about it because it was just all these superstars on here. It was like, man, did not miss. Would absolutely be phenomenal if AEW picked up the superstars that we talked about. So make sure you check out that video as well. So but before we get into Oba Femi's future, I want to remind you guys to always, Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. So make sure you subscribe and follow the show, follow the network. And yeah, let's talk about some professional wrestling. Hit up that super chat if you have a burning question, a burning hot take in terms of professional wrestling. We can always talk about it here. Send in the super chat, send in that super sticker because you guys are super awesome. I'm just kidding. No, that would be pretty badass. But all right, let's get into some Oba Femi talk. So Oba Femi, he's one of the best NXT stars I have ever seen in my life. And just in professional wrestling, he's so dominant. He puts on great matches. He's so powerful. He's such a prince, man. It's crazy. He's a Nigerian prince, and he's blessing us with his beautiful athletic capabilities inside the squared circle on NXT every Tuesday night. I think great things about Oba Femi. Obviously, you had Big E saying that he's going to be a future world champion. That's something that, can't be ignored. He recently had his match with Otis, where Otis actually on WWE NXT, I talked about it earlier. Um, I think he put on a good match. I knew exactly kind of how the match was going to go. That although Otis was going to lose, this match kind of put over Otis for like, Otis can hang out. He can be in the main card, the division. He could be a mid card champion. He could definitely, challenge for an Intercontinental Championship. That would be pretty cool. Maybe have him feud with Braun Breaker. But right now, he's with the Alpha Academy. I'm not too big on the Alpha Academy, but I don't know. Obafemi, he's phenomenal. He's almost there. I don't know the exact days away he is of becoming the longest reigning NXT North American champion, but he's gonna get there. It's not if, it's not, whether it's gonna happen. It's a definite. It's a Rembrandt. It's the future. Obafemi is going to be the greatest WWE NXT North American champion in the whole entire world. I know I mentioned earlier about, him having this open challenge where he goes to Monday Night Raw to get Otis to fight him. Maybe he finds his way to go to TNA to challenge Moose. Or maybe Moose, recently losing the TNA World Heavyweight Championship at Slammiversary in a 6-way elimination match. Maybe this is a great way for Moose to bounce back as well. Moose versus Obafemi would be absolutely electric. Be definitely one of the greatest wrestling matches of this modern era, because you have just these two Goliaths going at each other. These two guys that have all the confidence in the world, who is, powerhouses, but at the same time, they can get a little technical wrestling a little bit in there. You get a submission here, there, maybe an arsenal attack, who knows? But Obafemi, being caught up, I think that he would definitely get caught up as soon as, I feel like a lot of the NXT stars will probably get caught up as soon as WWE Raw hits Netflix, because Netflix is going to be wanting some top tier talent. And then you're going to see some talent from NXT level up come up to the main brand. But that could very much, kind of burden NXT as well. NXT is going to be debuting October 1st on the CW network. Essentially, they're becoming their own entity, and they're going to have to start selling out arenas. They're going to have to start selling out shows, which I don't think is going to be much of a problem. But if you have someone big like Obafemi, making a big name roster move to Monday Night Raw, or maybe potentially even SmackDown, it would leave the NXT North American Championship division wide open. Maybe perhaps it could be, a little beneficial, actually. Maybe you can have, maybe you could play around with a couple of champions there. Maybe you can have, Joe Hendry win one. Maybe Dante Chen. Maybe Alexis King, Eddie Thorpe. Maybe they do find themselves inside the mix. But right now, you kind of have Obafemi has the stronghold on the NXT North American Championship. And I don't really see it going anywhere, guys. Like, I get to the point where every single time he fights, I'm like, okay, that's an easy dub. That's an easy dub right there. Doesn't even matter who he's fighting. That's an easy dub. I know big wrestlers, big super heavyweight wrestlers inside the professional wrestling spectrum. It's definitely, in terms of WWE, whenever they get called up to the main roster, not a lot of people know what to do with them. Kind of like what you're seeing happening with like Braun Strowman, what you saw happen with Keith Lee when he got brought up by NXT. Also, Lars Sullivan when he was brought up to Monday Night Raw. It's never really, it's never like you see Omos in the past when you saw the Big Show. These guys like don't really get big name opportunities. But I think I think he's different. I think he's different at that, and especially under the Triple H Paul Levesque era. He could definitely get caught up to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and just be absolutely amazing. You'd have oh my God. Imagine him versus Gunther in a match. That would be, oh my God. Who are you putting your money on? Let me know in the chat. Who would you put your money on? Obafemi or Gunther in a match for the World Heavyweight Championship? Potentially. Oh, this guy's special. All I know is he's a special superstar. Not a lot of times we get, a lot of, really, really good generational talent like Obafemi. But if he stays on NXT as the North American, because if he loses the belt, I don't see him. Maybe he could make the jump to fight for the NXT World Championship, which would be great for him, which I could see possibly happening. He could definitely be a world champion. There's no doubt about that. But if he becomes the face of NXT, I feel like he is already the face of NXT. He recently had Ethan Page debut in NXT, taking out Oro Mensah, taking out Noam Dar, defeating Trick Williams in that fatal 4-way match for the NXT World Championship at Heatwave. Like, just imagine, like, and some of those superstars as well get drafted. Like, what if you have Trick Williams get drafted? That could possibly be in the future. Maybe Ethan Page finds his way on the main roster. Man, I think that would be pretty great. I can see him on SmackDown already just tormenting, that would be so cool. I would love to see that. A lot of these NXT superstars, a lot of them, they would be so damn good on Raw or SmackDown. It's kind of crazy to kind of just like speculate some of these superstars. And I'm like, damn, NXT has a very talented roster. They're so talented. It's probably the best NXT roster I've seen in a long time. And I'm not, obviously, once when, Seth and Roman, and then you had Finn, and then you had the 4 Horsewomen. Like, obviously, it's NXT's always been, kind of a cool thing. Kind of had a soft spot in my heart a little bit. But all in all, I think a lot of these superstars are going to find success as soon as the CW picks up their show. I was kind of doing a little bit of research, kind of searching on, on the World Wide Web, and I saw that, you're going to have the episode of NXT, but before that, maybe like a pre-show, maybe NXT Level Up. I definitely think they're going to be, WWE's going to put their hands in definitely the pool of free agents in terms of professional wrestling industries, promotionals, probably find some new wrestlers to sign. Arguably, you also have TNA wrestling. This collaboration, I feel like, will continue. Shawn Michaels said in an interview that, if you think this is good, just wait. Just wait. 1,010%. I trust the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. I know that he has a knack for making the WWE a better place. He's a great creative mind. He's brought in, he is the perfect CEO, or, the creative mind to bring attention to NXT. And the best way to put it is you have the face right there. If Oba Femi becomes the NXT World Heavyweight Champion, which he will, that scenario actually seems like more likely to be, the actual case, because they need him. They need him to sell out arenas. I don't know if they're going to be, I don't know what the commercials are going to be like on the CW. I see it still kind of being the same as the USA Network. I don't really see the show changing too much. I don't see it getting more graphic. I don't see, getting more verbal or becoming more, PG-13. Although I've heard a lot of more cussing on NXT as opposed to Raw and SmackDown. Especially, I think there was a promo from Chase U, and Thea Hill was like, "Everybody just shut up," and it was just so funny. The smallest girl in the room, and everybody was like, "Dude, this girl's like, she's gonna bite your head off, man." So I thought that was, definitely thought that was pretty cool. If NXT wants to, maybe they could let Oba Femi go and, maybe get called up to Raw or SmackDown. But it's more than likely that they need him. They need Oba Femi, the kind of presence that he brings backstage, and also the way he performs inside the ring. It's just special. He puts over other superstars as well inside the ring. So, definitely think he's going to be staying with NXT. Definitely helping them with this new era, heading to the CW network. All right, guys, so it's almost it for me. I got one more segment to take care of. We have my man Emran's GSMC Soccer Podcast starting in about 20 minutes. So, kind of got to wrap this up super quick. Apologize for the technicality and the, technical delay. So we're going to try to get through this. We're going to try to power through this as fast as we can. So, hey, stay tuned. All right, all right, all right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our NXT review. We also had our AEW Dynamite preview. We also talked about 7 superstars who could possibly land in AEW, and then we talked about Oba Femi's future within NXT, maybe Monday Night Raw, maybe SmackDown. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into our Wednesday's weekly wrestling news. Just to remind you guys that Oba Femi is super badass, super cool. He's a dog. All right, I don't want, moving on from that. Raquel Rodriguez has provided some positive update about her treatment from MCAS. She said her skin feels, better than it has in months, which is great. I can't wait for Raquel Rodriguez to come back to the WWE. When she left, it was a little impromptu. She was in that Elimination Chamber match. She has a lot of history with Liv Morgan. They were tag team champions, I believe. So it'd be huge for her to come back. Definitely to help out Liv Morgan. I had a segment where I talked about potential superstars that could debut on this new Judgment Day faction, which is kind of crazy. I heard WWE recently trademarked I forgot the name, but I feel like if you don't have Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, it's not really the Judgment Day. I think it's kind of a lost cause there. So if Raquel Rodriguez comes back, she's a powerhouse. She's an amazing superstar. She puts over superstars inside the ring. She was a former NXT a women's world champion. I would love to see Raquel Rodriguez come back, and obviously waiting on pins and needles because that's how damn good she was. All right, next we have CM Punk makes an appearance at a Rancid concert. Definitely love that. CM Punk, does he listen to punk rock music? Probably. This whole persona had to kind of stem from somewhere. Like you have, Darby Allin from AEW. He grew up listening to punk rock music, and obviously Gigi Allen was a huge he loved his music, which is kind of crazy because I remember why listening to, mostly because I blame my brother for kind of getting me into the Exploited, the Misfits, and the Angry Son, not the Angry Son, no, not. It's so crazy when I had that tag team tournament about finding out who's the best tag team. I would always confuse the Angry Samoans with the Wild Samoans because the Angry Samoans is a punk rock band that my brother would listen to all the time. I remember also listening to CKY, Circle Jerks, a couple other just bands that I think nowadays, if that music kind of came out today, it would kind of end up in the gutter because a lot of people would be like, "What the hell is this?" Like, a lot of cool, definitely an error, definitely an error. I know the punk rock started with the Sex Pistols and also the Ramones, and then I don't know, it's just kind of crazy, but it is what it is. But it was so cool. I love the fact that CM Punk still goes out. I recently saw that Ava, the general manager of the NXT, was at a Slipknot concert. I follow her on Instagram. So I saw that she was actually like backstage up in the dude. I was like, dude, that's badass. That's so cool. I haven't been to a concert in so damn long. It's crazy. I think I'm too old. Is there such a thing as too old for going to a concert? Let me know in the chat if you feel like, I know when I do go to concerts, there's still people like that are kind of old as hell that still go to their like 50, 60-year-old. And that's not even that old nowadays. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Love the fact that CM Punk was out there. Love that he's repping. He's supporting supporting his type of music. Definitely respect that. Next, Billy Starks, the former Ring of Honor Women's Television Champion, the inaugural champion. I think it was. Yes or no. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I think she was. Not too sure. But she's injured. And it kind of sucks. It forced her to withdraw from a competition that she was going to be in. You recently saw her drop the belt to Red Velvet at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor, which kind of makes a little sense. I don't know if she was injured during the match. I did see highlights of the match and she looked fine. She looked like she was still doing her thing. But I don't know, maybe this could have been a way for her losing the championship. Maybe in reality before before she announced her injury with Ring of Honor officials. Maybe Queen Aminata was the one that was going to defeat Athena, and maybe Billy Starks holding on to the championship, causing a feud between them two. But I thought they were going to feud eventually. I did 1,010%. Also going to be taking some time away. Obviously, injuries suck, man. It's crazy. Like you never know when they're going to happen. Your body sometimes tells you that you can't do things anymore. And Billy Starks, she's young. She's still young. Obviously, she's gonna bounce back pretty quick. Definitely see her bouncing back though. Maybe like as a baby face persona. Maybe her, coming back and telling Athena, "You treated me like, like stuff, like the you treated me like crap, and I stood by your side. I want to dethrone you. I want that Ring of Honor World Champion. I want to dethrone this historic reign that you have going. So that could possibly be a way for her to kind of come back. I think that'd be pretty cool. Ronda Rousey said in an interview that she admits that she wished she had wrestled under the Triple H era. And it's no surprise. It's no surprise from what Ronda said about WWE creative kind of, focusing more on the men's matches when she was there and maybe giving only like 5 minute a thought process to the women's division. No, that sucks. That sucks 1,010%. That's terrible. And Ronda Rousey, I'm not the biggest Ronda Rousey guy. I got to be honest. And with all due respect, I respect her as an athlete. She's having her second kid. Godspeed to you. I hope it's a successful, healthy, natural. But whatever, I'm a father of three, and kids they do kind of change. They do kind of change you. Ronda Rousey coming back to the WWE. I think it's more likely than not. Definitely, under the Paul Levesque era, you give Ronda Rousey, after she gives birth, probably, like 6 months to a year to, kind of get. I could see her coming back in 2000 and like late 2025, 2026. I think that'd be pretty cool. I think they should do it right this time. I don't think they should, just because she's this big name, former UFC star, comes to the WWE. She's got to start in NXT. She has to start in NXT. Because in NXT, you kind of learn from there. You had Shayna Baszler starting NXT, and she's great. You have Lola Vice starting in NXT. When she makes it up to the main roster, she's going to be amazing. When you had Ronda Rousey make it up, debuting, I think it was after Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble. Don't quote me on that. Maybe. I think it was. I'm not too sure. But she just was rough. She was rough around the edges. She missed her spot. One of the most dangerous women inside the ring. And by dangerous, I mean potentially, hurting coworkers, hurting fellow women superstars. In that case, yeah, she's the most dangerous woman in WWE. No, I'm just kidding. But kind of not, sort of, not sort of, you know what I mean? But I just think they need to do it right. They need to do it better. And, by all means, that's not Ronda's fault. What if Ronda was like, hey, the women need more training. Like, I need more training. Put me in the ring. Put me with somebody. And the WWE was like, no, you're good. Go out there. What's with your music hits? Like, no, people aren't going to watch you inside. Like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, a little uneasy, but I don't know. Also in the women's division, we have Dakota Kai tearing a meniscus. She, recently missed 10 months due to an ACL tear. Talk about a girl with some crazy luck here. That is awful. Right when she was starting to make a turn for Damage Control, kind of making this baby face turn a little bit here against Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark's new faction. And I had high hopes for, Dakota Kai. I know she's going to miss a couple of months. This is huge. She's going to have to go through surgery. I want to see her come back when the WWE finally introduces mid-card titles. Sorry, excuse me. Mid-card titles for the women's division, like the women's Intercontinental or the women's United States. So definitely think when she comes back. Not too sure. She's probably going to. I don't know how long Damage Control is going to last. Last night we kind of hit on talking about Dakota Kai for a little bit, and then I got a chat saying that Julia could take her spot. That is probably best case scenario. That's probably the best thing to do. Also, Asuka coming back as well. She's coming back from an injury. She could potentially be coming back to Damage Control to do to kind of make us, kind of stay her claim within Damage Control. Because once when Bayley kind of got kicked out, you had Io Sky, lose her championship against Bayley at WrestleMania 40. I don't know. It just seemed like it was all downhill. It kind of seemed like they were going to break up, but they didn't. So next we have John Cena will be helping WWE transition into Netflix. Also, he also, gave his plans for post WWE and says he will remain a brand ambassador for WWE, which is great for WWE. Obviously, John Cena is a huge star. He's a philanthropist. He's granted the most wishes from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's a great dude. 1,010%. He's an amazing. He's a great actor. He's funny as hell. It's crazy. You've seen him in Vacation Friends 1 and 2. Seen him in Blockers. I've also seen him in, even if it's like a serious, well, semi-serious kind of movie, like the Transformers, I think he was in Bumblebee. He was in Bumblebee, and I think and he was with the Fast and Furious franchises. And I don't know, he's just a great dude. Just a great person to be around, a great person to work with. 1,010% wish John Cena the best. Glad he's still going to be, hanging around WWE after he hangs up his boots. All right, and lastly, MJF shares feelings about Shane McMahon potentially joining AEW. And he's for it. He says that Shane McMahon is a megastar. I think for him and AEW would be beneficial for both of them, because I feel like it would get, some good ratings, bring a different creative mind to AEW. So, it's kind of crazy how MJF, I thought he was gonna sound off. I thought he'd be like, you know what, Shane McMahon doesn't belong here. Maybe to keep kayfabe, maybe that would have been pretty badass. But I don't know. With Shane McMahon possibly going to AEW, I think it'd be interesting. It would be interesting. I'm gonna admit it. The fact that he tried to come back to WWE to wrestle, kind of brought up a lot more questions than it did answers. I could see him come to AEW, kind of be like a Don Callis, but if you mess with him too much, he's gonna roll up his sleeves and take some guys out himself. I could see something like that happening. Maybe he brings in, or maybe he creates a new faction to take down this new elite. Like Tony Khan comes out in the promo. He's like, there's only one person I know who could take down, miserable people, and then all of a sudden you hear Shane McMahon. It'd be kind of cool. It'd be interesting to see if he keeps his here comes the money. It'd be kind of interesting to see if he keeps his theme song there. So, MJF is all for Shane McMahon coming to All Elite Professional Wrestling. So you guys should be open to it. I'm just kidding though. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into my show. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here, telling you guys have a beautiful night. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok/X. TikTok. I said TikTok twice. TikTok, Facebook for more content and updates. Like I always say, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, follow the other podcasts as well. We got Nelson with basketball. We have Tommy with college football. We have 2 football podcasts with the NFL coming up. We have the GSMC football podcast with Kenneth. We also have the GSMC Chip Shot football podcast with my man Manny. We also have we have a fantasy sports show. Check it out. I'm terrible at fantasy sports, so I'm going to have to watch my boy Chris Shepard on the GSMC Fantasy Sports podcast. Can't wait to watch that. It's going to be awesome. We got Jeremy. We got TJ covering all the sports from hockey to baseball, sometimes the Olympics. When these guys cover some stuff, they bring you guys the best content, known to man. They're definitely, in terms of entertainment, I watch these guys' podcasts every single chance I have. And it's just nice. Sometimes, I can only listen to Colin Cowherd and, Stephen A. Smith, and I can only listen to them so many times. So I'm like, okay, it's just the same stuff, over and over again. If you want a different perspective in the world of sports entertainment industry, make sure you tune in to the GSMC Sports Network. Well, definitely, like I said, and you subscribe, it is the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that you guys will never, ever, ever, ever regret subscribing to our network. So, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday night. I will see you tomorrow on Thursday. Get some sleep, stay beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.